I think when it comes to data quality, there's a large fallacy. Most people come from the traditional world where you have an application, it does a specific thing, it gets something in, it processes it and turns something out. And people say garbage in, garbage out, because most applications do not work reliable. However, when it comes to analysis and to risk management, what now has become a liability becomes a large asset because that's what we want to manage. So basically, the governments say you're allowed to do business internationally as long as you make sure that you really understand what you are selling, whom you are selling it to, whether the goods that you have might pose a risk from an economic or from a national security perspective, and if the parties you are doing that business with might also be subject to those risks. So as long as you can make sure that you understand that, get the right requirements in place, get the authorizations, point the rules or licenses that you have, you're allowed to do business. So if you fail to have accurate data, you fail to comply with these requirements in the first place. So what we said is pointing towards these issues in data, and there are different kinds of gaps in data, is absolutely key to do effective trade compliance management. And there are multiple ways you can find those issues in the data quality. So the first one is to say, do we have the data where we need it, right? Do you keep records about what you're exporting, what your determinations are? Do you have that information available? The next one is, does it fulfill minimum formatting requirements? So for example, if someone puts in dummy, you might know you have this mask in front of you on a web page, you need to fill out something, you don't know what it is, just put in a placeholder value, off it goes, right? We cannot accept these kinds of values, so we can do first sanity checks. The next one is, are the values you have appropriate from multiple points of view? So maybe you have something that's subject to US origins, to the EIR, do you have an appropriate classification? So there are already many things where we can check, does it principally work? And the last level is also consistency, right? You have many different systems that collect pieces of information. Are they consistent with each other? And all of these are very, let's say, basic checks you can do just based on the data that you have, that don't require special assessment from an expert, that don't require evaluations from the government. All of these are things you can determine just by looking at the data, and that's what we help companies take accountability for.